Welcome to Comically Comics, your one-stop listen to all things comics. We're talking books, movies, TV shows, video games, and more. I must forewarn you, though, we are a spoilercast, and what that means is we consider all properties, past, future, and present, to be valid, and we will spoil the hell out of them. I'm your host, Michael, along with my two co-hosts, Richard and Jeremy, and with all that being said, let's get started. All right, it's Sunday, September 15th. Thank y'all for coming hang out with us, Stephen. Appreciate y'all as always. We've got another awesome movie review this evening, and it's Hellboy from 2019. This is the first venture that David Harbour has as Hellboy. Previous iterations were done by Ron Pearlman, so I'm sure we'll be doing talks about that as well as the night progresses. But what is y'all's whelmings on this movie here?
All right, so mine is, I will say I am whelmed. Just was not a fan really much. The story kind of seemed to drag on a little bit to me.
Okay.
I was not a fan of. I wasn't really getting into Dave Harbour being Hellboy. I don't know. It just wasn't meshing for me. I think he just sticks to being Alexi, and he'll be fine. Like,
I'm so proud of you knowing that, honestly.
Yeah, that
I feel like we finally rubbed off on you a little bit.
We won't say that I went and had to look up his name earlier to make sure.
But still, you also knew the actor, though, to the other character. Like, that's impressive.
It's a big step for you, Jeremy.
Making progress. And I wasn't crazy about his cosmetics for Hellboy. It did not drive well for me. Not even really knowing, I know, Michael, you've said before, like, you're not crazy about you want his left arm to be kind of scrawny. I mean, not like just like skin and bone type thing, but
right.
In this one, he was pretty muscular, kind of bulky.
More like dad bod.
Yeah,
but that's
like
David
a fit dad bod kind of thing. Well, kind of fit, but yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I don't know. I was not getting into this one as much. So,
got you. All right then, Jeremy or Richard. Sorry,
whatever your name is.
This guy down here.
I'm pleasantly whelmed. I think I'm more like I would say I'm probably whelmed to pleasantly whelmed because I like this. You're probably going to ask this, but I like this more than Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, but less than Hellboy 1 with Ron Pearlman, like the 2004 one. But yeah, David Harbour is fine. I do like Ron Pearlman better as Hellboy. I think his face and his voice suits Hellboy better. That being said, I like it took some getting used to. I'll say that. When I first saw this in theaters, I was kind of jarred by the look of David Harbour's Hellboy. It was very, very jarring. I love later on in the movie when I'm just talking about this. Anyway, my whelming is whelmed to pleasantly whelmed. I'll get into that later, but yeah.
Got you. My whelming is confused, honestly.
Yeah, okay.
Like I'm just confused. I don't know where I land, honestly. I think I'm gonna go with whelmed, but it's honestly hard for me to even say that I'm whelmed by this movie. Where I think it excelled at and that I really enjoyed, it's hard for me to let the look of David Harbour, though, and some of the CGI allow me to enjoy that stuff.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, certain things I'm overwhelmed with, other things I'm like underwhelmed. So like, I guess on average, I'm whelmed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, all right. First appearances, like we always do. We're going to say Hellboy is San Diego Comic-Con Comics number 2. That's like the first official black and white version of Hellboy. Vivian Nimue. Thank you. The Blood Queen. Hellboy, The Wild Hunt number 3. Trevor Burtonholm. Hellboy Seed of Destruction, number 1. That's Hellboy's father, Ben Daimio.
Oh,
is
Damio.
Okay, thank you. He's the agent that winds up turning into the Were-Jaguar. BPRD, The Dead, number 1. Lobster Johnson, Hellboy Box Full of Evil, number 1. You're going to have to help me with this one as well, Richard. Grogach.
Oh,
Gruagak. Thank you. Hellboy. You'd act like I never saw the fucking movie, honestly. Like reading through these names, like I just didn't. Grogak, Hellboy, The Corpse, and the Iron Shoes. Baba Yaga, Hellboy, Wake the Devil, number 3. Alice, Monaghan. She is in the comics as well, but it's very tricky actually naming her first. So I'm just going to advise y'all to go and look it up if you care that much about the character. So Hellboy is considered Paranormal's most wanted in this reboot of the property. Nimue, the Blood Queen. Nimue, thank you. God bless. Nimue, the Blood Queen, is being pieced back together. Her completion and possible partnership with the Big Red could mean the end of our world. Will Hellboy be able to choose the path of righteousness or of conqueror? So, this felt like a lot like Hellboy 1 to me.
Okay. Well, I it's not like
you jarred.
Well, yeah, because like the comics that it's based off of is Darkness Calls, The Wild Hunt, The Storm, and The Fury, and that's like I don't know, volume 4 through 6 or something like that. I forget what it is, but it's not really the first. I mean, it is an origin because they're rebooting it, kind of thing. But this was more
right.
To me, it feels nothing like the first Hellboy, like at all.
Yeah. To me, the only thing that like is just that him and his dad, like having the dad a little bit, like, and I'll say I liked the dad in the first Hellboy.
Oh yeah, thank God. I thought you were about to say
way better.
I thought, yeah, Ian. What is his name? I can't think.
He tried to be too much of like a bad cop kind of dad or something, and I was just like, just go away, like. Yeah. Go back into her throat there and just, don't come back out.
Ian McShane is playing.
That sounds so dirty.
I know it does.
So many ways.
Don't be gross, Tammy.
Ian McShane is playing Trevor Brutenholm or Professor Broom, and John Hurt did an amazing job as Professor Broom. Not to mention, John Hurt is a spitting image of the comic character from Mike Mignola's art. Like looks just like the old man with like the crazy kind of like Einstein looking hair and then that like scraggly looking goatee, like looks just like that in the comics. Yeah. I hated Ian McShane's version of Professor Broom.
He was way more of a father figure too. I like that better with the relationship. Yes. Than what we got in this version of it.
Yeah.
It was like he wanted to be a father figure, but he was a hard ass, and then he like blamed that on his dad and shit. And I was just like, the fuck, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, get it together. I think the stuff that triggers it to where I feel like this is a lot like the first one, which was like Destruction, Conqueror Worm.
Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah.
Is the fact of like the whole thing was getting Hellboy so he could use his right hand of doom so that he could like conquer the world in that first one. And then the same, like you get the same kind of thing with him going and getting Excalibur's sword and then, possibly taking up sides with Nimue. God bless, I'll never get this. Nimue. So there was that aspect of it for me. And then like the father dying as well. That was another aspect because that happened in the first movie. So it was stuff like that gave me first movie vibes is what it boiled down to.
Mm.
So
yeah, the whole I don't know much about Hellboy, but I did like a whole bunch of like researching for tonight. And yeah, the whole him related to King Arthur, Excalibur, all that shit's in the comic. Like it is.
Yeah.
Matter of
is
fact,
real.
yeah. Matter of fact, the reason why I kind of think this is like everyone hates this movie, and I don't understand why. But I like this one is more comic accurate than the Guillermo del Toro ones. But I think the Guillermo del Toro ones are better made, in my opinion.
Yes.
Well, I think that's probably it. I mean, because like, I don't know. I think the story could have been a good one if it was done properly and having the right. I don't know. It didn't. Even just the movie itself, it didn't look polished or put together much.
Yeah.
Like it was just we just shot it with an iPhone 16 Pro, and there you go, kind of thing.
Well, I will say this, because that just kind of leads me into this. This movie had a budget of $50 million.
That's pretty small.
Yeah, and to put it in perspective, in 2004's Hellboy, it had a budget of $66 million, which you had more buying power back then.
Yeah.
And Hellboy 2008's Hellboy, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, had a budget of $85 million. And currently there is no how much budget they had for the 2024 Hellboy's The Crooked Man.
I want to piggyback off of Jeremy because I think he's like spot on with like my emotions and why I was confused with this movie. And it's I'm hearing you with the like it makes sense when you're talking about the whole budgets with these the two prior movies compared to this one, because to me CGI in this one, like it looked good in some spots, and in other spots they were like, fuck it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I was just that bothered me so bad. And the prosthetics on David Harbour himself, like the face and first of all, the hair was wrong. That bothered me.
Yeah.
So like I don't know why Jack Kesey not having yellow eyes doesn't bother me, but David Harbour's hair does.
Yeah.
But it does. And I'm like, no, he needs to have that like Japanese skullet thing. Like I need that in my life.
He does have like the man bun Japanese thing, but it's not the bald part. But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Pretty much from here down, I'm fine with David Harbour's Hellboy. But here up, it looks bad.
His neck.
Yeah, sorry. I just realized our listeners can't see that. So from the neck down is what I'm saying. He looks fine. The neck up, I don't like.
You're saying the Hellboy is a butterface in this one.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. He had a face only a mother could love.
Do either one of y'all know if Harbour had a bodysuit on for this movie? Because it honestly looked like a bodysuit. And I was just like, I don't like this at all.
Yeah. I specifically, I was so weird. I was debating on sending you that video of the behind the scenes talking about all the like practical effects that they used for this movie. Gruagach, the big giant pig man, he's mostly a physical person in like a rubber suit with an animatronic head that moves. They CGI some of the scenes to give it better animation, but for the most part, he is physically in those scenes wearing a giant like animatronic pig head. David Harbour is wearing a full body suit like 90% of the time, and even jiggles. Like it even has like fat love handle jiggles.
Yes, like that's what like when there was like one time whenever you turned, I was like, hey, there's love handles. Like I didn't think that would happen. Like Hellboy shouldn't have love handles.
And they wanted to separate this Hellboy from Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy. So they specifically made their own sort of design. And one of the other things is, like I said, the dad bod thing, but they made him hairier. So his tail has hair, his back has hair, his butt crack has hair. Like you can see his butt crack when he's fighting the giants.
Yeah. So like when he's like shirtless, like grinding his horns down and stuff like that, and he walks over to go get a piece of pizza, and you see his back. I was like, his back does not match his front at all. Like there's no definition in his back. It just looks like total like dad bod back.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no definition at all back there. But then when he turns around, he's got like chest and that. I'm like, no, sir, that's not how that shit works. I promise you. I look at myself in the mirror every day.
Yeah. It was just, and like for me, like I'm not one that necessarily nitpicks a whole lot on the cosmetic stuff, and like, but there was one shot where it was close. I may have been where he was following down or something, but one of the shots where they was close up on his face, and I was like, those horror like that. It just looks terrible. It literally just looks like they just grabbed something just with some with like the stick glue, the glue sticks, and just stuck it on his head. And I was like, it looks awful.
I will say that, like, I appreciated him having somewhat of a weathered face. Like, you could see scars and stuff like that. And I'm like, Hellboy fights monsters. I could see that, him having that. It's not, from the comics that I've read, it's not been depicted. So maybe I'm just missing those, and that's fine. It's just most of the time he just kind of looks like he's more polished, but he's bald up top and he's got a nice little bun, managed hair. And I appreciated what they did with his mouth in this one. It looked very like
teeth
straight. Like Hellboy in the comic books, his mouth is just like straight across. Like, and so I there was especially the bar scene where he's like he's got his head on the bar, and like the scorpion that looked like shit, y'all.
Yeah,
the scorpion looked horrendous in that scene. But like he's laying there and you see his mouth and it looks on par with what Hellboy should look like. I like the more polished look that Pearlman had.
Yeah.
I like that way more than what they tried to do with Harbor. And I get trying to differentiate, and so maybe that's why the hair was all scraggly. Maybe that's why it wasn't bald. He's got, more stuff going on with his face, but man, I wish they had rethought that and stuck with what Pearlman had.
Yeah.
That looked a lot better to me.
I am surprised y'all haven't brought up, since y'all were talking about the CGI, because I will agree. Some of the CGI looks absolutely fucking atrocious. Like, absolutely fucking atrocious. And I'm surprised y'all haven't brought this up, but when Alice Monaghan uses her special, like, vomit ability, which is the grossest fucking ability,
right?
But it looks like a green screened head put onto a CGI body, because it's just like, especially when Professor Broom, Ian McShane shows up at the end of the movie. It looks so bad. It's such a fucking bad shot. And I'm just like, why didn't y'all? I understand why, because behind the scenes, apparently there was infighting between the like director and the producers and some of the like execs of Lionsgate. So much so that they no one has confirmed this, but supposedly the rumor is that the Lionsgate execs fired his cinematographer just to prove a point about like, this is who runs the show here, not you, kind of thing. Yeah.
Right.
And even to talk about it, David Harbour, I meant to send this to y'all as well, but you can go on YouTube and search, was it America's Digest or something like that, where they go into his like New York home and he shows off like his New York apartment or whatever. He has a poster of Hellboy like in his closet or something like that. And he says he leaves it there to remind him just how low you can get in Hollywood.
Oh, wow. Dang.
Wow.
Because he did not have a good time while doing this movie.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that. Because story-wise, I felt like this was a pretty solid movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I felt story-wise, this was better than the Del Toro stuff. I love the introduction of Alice. I love getting her story fleshed out.
Mm-hmm.
I love the double cross on Hellboy with the giants and stuff like that, and the Blood Queen and that whole story. Like, there's the stories that we got within this movie, I honestly really, really enjoyed and really liked. And that was the stuff that I was overwhelmed with, because I was like, this to me is not as complicated, convoluted, I don't know, as the Del Toro stuff. Like, you didn't have the whole Hellboy babies. You didn't have this whole twin brother sister thing they're separated, and like, it's just, there's several things that just weren't like needed in those movies. And I didn't feel like we got that in this. And I like that we fleshed out and got to see and keep like more of the Hellboy characters in this. So like the Warthog dude, like he's in several books of Hellboy throughout time. Like it's almost like an arch nemesis type deal from what I was reading.
Yeah.
So I love that he was a main part of that story. And I love getting his origin too, because I was like, oh, that's really, I didn't know about it. And that was really cool. The way that that they did it. Alice is fairly close to what the comic origin is. Like she was abducted by fairies. She wasn't replaced from what I gathered, but she was abducted and then given, Hellboy had to go and get her back. So it wasn't just a sit around and wait thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, the story wise, I really liked the story stuff. It was hard for me to get over that CGI giant fight scene and some of the other CGI parts and Pearlman, and not Pearlman, but Harbor's like just prosthetics. It was really hard.
I liked the CGI isn't great, but I liked the fight scene with the giants, with them kicking him, and he go like there's
Yes.
2 or 3 scenes where he gets kicked and he goes flying across like this open field, and then like he's got to like figure out a way to like fight the giant as it's slowly coming towards him. I thought that was kind of cool.
I feel like they put like all their money for the CGI into the end where all those big demon things came up out of the ground.
Yeah.
They just put it all into that. And because I mean, those looked decent. They looked pretty good to me. I was like, but at the same time, I was like, what are these? Like, why these things are coming up and then they're gone. And I don't know. It's like, for one, whenever I was sitting there watching and like that one went down and then the manhole closed again, I was like, well, nobody's ever going to go down there and check that one again. Like, that's just
the weirdest thing that this movie does that I cannot forgive compared to the Ron Pearlman 2004 Hellboy is like, they just don't give a shit about keeping Hellboy secret.
Oh, yeah.
Hellboy's just out in the, he's just wandering around in Mexico at the start of the movie. And then like later on, they go to like a fish and chip shop that's like a secret entrance to their M11 division of BPRD. And like he's just out in the fucking open when he goes and meets Alice and they bring him back in. There's like people like in that apartment complex or whatever that are just like watching Hellboy walk around. I'm like, what do you do? Like, does everyone in this world know who Hellboy is? And at the end of this movie, I was just kind of like, where do you go from here as far as like this organization trying to cover up the things that go bump in the night kind of stuff? Like,
right
after like a 8-foot tall demons walk, not 8 foot tall, like 12-foot tall demons walking around skinning people, or like one of them stepping and using like his feet as like, I don't know, like spears to like get. Again, the other thing too that I don't like, and again, I like gore, I like violence, but this one's just unnecessarily violent and gory for no reason in some of the scenes.
Yeah.
Like it could have been fine in certain scenes, and then others I'm just like, that's not necessary. I don't need to see that.
Yeah.
I agree. I like that they did that in some, because I feel like that went a step further than what Pearlman's did.
Yeah.
But again, in others, like just to echo what you're saying, in others, I was like, but why? Like, what does it add here? So, and there was something else that they did that was different. Going back to the giant scene, I'm with you. I love the storyboard for the giant scene. Like, don't get me wrong. Like the choreography and the way they did it, or the way that they told that story, and how he'd get hit several times and just go flying.
Yeah,
and then that was really cool, and how they kept up with him. The different the different camera angles.
Yeah,
that's combination. Kangle. That's a new word, and it's combination of camera and angle.
No, I thought it was when your ankles swell up.
A cankle?
That's a cankle.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No K, G.
Oh, okay.
But the different camera angles that they did and the way they would spin it and stuff. No, I loved all that. I loved it. It's just they didn't put the money in to clean it up.
Yeah.
They didn't put the money in to finish up what they had done, and they just said, "Okay, looks good enough. Let's go."
Yeah.
And it's like that's kind of one of the better parts of the movie. So, but like with the Warthog dude, I thought he looked really good throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
Like throughout the whole movie, I never had an issue with the way he looked, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like he I didn't realize it was a guy that just walking around with that suit on. So I mean, I'm sure that's probably what
Right?
helped out a lot, is because they didn't
Yeah.
didn't have to do much CGI on him,
Mhm.
just kind of tone him up a little bit here or there. But yeah, I agree. Like it's just, it sucks that it didn't. It just, they weren't able to hit home with all that. So
I like the story that guy had too.
Mm.
The Warthog.
Oh yeah.
Grugok, yeah.
Yes, that he's mad at Hellboy because he basically stole his cushy life.
Mhm.
You know, like that made sense, even though that's not like, I would assume that's not part of the origin, but like it made sense with the story.
Yeah.
So I really, really enjoyed that, and just him giving him that reason to like hate and not like Hellboy.
Yeah. Yeah, and his scene with the monks, that was pretty gruesome.
Yeah. That's kind of one that I was like, I don't think it needed to be that. Like, you know, when like there's just arms flying and hitting the
Yeah.
wall.
Yeah,
I was just kind of like, that's not necessary. I don't need that. Like, you could just hear screaming and maybe like blood splatter. Like, I don't need arms flying like a Looney Tune thing. But yeah, and then the him ripping out the tongue of the monk to like open that
Oh, yeah.
chest. I felt
I
like,
hated that.
yeah, I felt like that was just such a huge loophole that the writers should have maybe like fixed that later, like before they filmed the movie. And I don't know. It was just one of those like, okay, well, if he could have just done that, why didn't he do it from the beginning?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and then like the other thing was later on, Hellboy's just able to hit the box, and it just busts open,
Oh yeah.
and it's like, good. I'm gonna
Grugok.
try. Grogok.
No, Gruagok.
Gruagok.
Like he grew a pair. Gruagok.
Gruagok.
There you go.
Grigorovich.
It's not gonna happen. You son of a bitch.
Nemu.
Oh no. I default to Blood Queen on that one now.
Okay.
That's
Okay. That's fair.
Grogok. What? No?
No.
Grogok.
There you go.
Grogok.
You got it.
Yeah,
You
he's
got
not
Grugok.
growing it. He already grew it.
it. Yes. There you go.
Grogok could have just destroyed the box if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't need a tongue or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like,
The only thing
that
with
threw me off.
the only thing with him, it had iron on it because he like the whole he's based off of like an Irish, I want to say an Irish like fairy tale kind of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, his whole ish is like he can't touch iron; it like burns him. So those
Yeah.
chains were wrapped in iron. So maybe he couldn't bust it. That I don't know. Like it's one of those plot holes that the writers should have maybe thought about it a little bit more before they put that in there. And then with Hellboy being able to smash it, maybe I can't remember if it had chains and stuff on it, but maybe because he's King Arthur's descendant, he's able to open it or something. I don't know. Or because he is a demon, his demon power overpowers that magic. I don't know. This is why I don't like magic a lot of the times, because it's just you can just hand wavily explain everything.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Where all do we see Baba Yaga? Like, is it just in Hellboy that she's, or is that?
Baba
You talking
Yaga?
about like Baba Yaga in like media? What are you asking? I'm confused.
I don't know. I feel like I've heard that name before. I just don't know where.
Ant-Man.
Yeah, Ant-Man, the Russian like hacker guy. You know the three like associates of Scott Lang that like help him
Yeah.
steal stuff. There's one guy who's like Russian. He calls someone a witch. I can't remember who it was. Oh,
Yeah.
I remember. It's when Scott like shrinks down and he's like, "This is the work of a witch" or something like that. And he's like,
Oh yeah.
he's like Baba Yaga or something. Yeah, it's an old Russian like folklore tale about like this witch that lives in a chicken house, which my I have to mention this. My wife fucking loves that chicken house. She just likes chickens, but she was like, I fucking love that chicken house. It's so cool looking.
That walks around.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, she eats like children or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing, you know.
Ugh.
And then if you've seen John Wick, John Wick's nickname that the Russians call him is Baba
Yeah.
Yaga.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
forgot about John Wick. You're right. But yeah, no. Whenever I heard it, I thought of the Russian guy from What If, and he's like Baba Yaga.
Oh,
So yeah, the Baba Yaga, that too is a man in a fully prosthetic costume.
oh.
And then they had a different actress do the voice of Baba Yaga.
Yep.
And he was able to
That's
like
interesting.
contort and do all that like crazy stuff.
Oh God. Oh yeah, that's insane.
Mhm.
Right?
It's-
Right? I like that. I like that they did a lot of practical stuff in this, and just kind of threw some little CGI or whatever here and there over top. I like that. I thought that was pretty cool. I noticed that Baba Yaga, sometimes her lips didn't match what she was saying.
Mhm.
At least especially in
because she didn't have any.
in scene credit. Well, her mouth. But yeah, I noticed that like sometimes she'd be talking and like her mouth wasn't like open, and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
talking. So
That kiss is so fucking nasty.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. It did kind of like it made me chuckle but gag at the same time whenever he was like, why does your tongue have hair on it?
I like some of the jokes in this movie. That was going to be my question to ask y'all. Is what did y'all think of some of the jokier moments?
Some of them, like I don't. That was the main one that kind of I remember. There was one other one, but obviously it's probably already forgotten. But like it was okay at times, but other ones felt forced to me. Like he was trying a little too hard.
I gotcha.
there were none where I was like, really? But there wasn't many that like made me chuckle. So, but like, there were some that did, but I don't know. It never seemed forced to me, but at the same time it was, I didn't enjoy them, but we all know that I don't laugh much anyway. So that's a whole other thing.
I like at the beginning when he's like talking with Ruiz, and he's like, we used to play guitar in your backyard. You'd play that hippie acoustic crap, and I'd play real music.
Yeah.
I also like when they come to like collect him when he's like drunk in Tijuana, and they're like, Hellboy, and he's like, no, it's Josh. People get us confused all the time. I don't know.
I did like
David
that.
Harbour really sells that moment for me. I also like him talking with Professor Broom. And this is a reference to one of the actual stories in the comic book, but he talks about like Ra, and he's like, oh, Ra. Yeah, I met Ra once. He's a close talker. And there's some other, I'm a Capricorn and you're fucking nuts. I thought that was funny.
Yes.
The one I rolled my eyes with was at the end, was like, hey, lady, you got to quit while you're ahead. And he just like throws it away. I was just like, oh, that's awful. That's terrible.
That was very cringy.
That kind of leads me to, so I don't know if y'all noticed it, but when he does pull Excalibur from the stone, his design changes. Not just the horns grow out and he gets the crown, the flaming crown, but like he does actually get a more prominent forehead, a more prominent jawline. His teeth get more jaggedy. I love when he turns into essentially a Nung Raman or whatever, his like true form, if you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it looked dope as hell, especially when he comes like out of the cellar or whatever that, I don't know what that is, the crypt, and he's like got the horns and the flaming crown and the sword. And anyway, it just looked really cool to me.
Yeah. I thought that one, I was trying to think of like which one I liked better as far as between, because obviously the first Hellboy had his moment where he was like that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I don't know, I probably liked, I don't know, those are kind of hard to compare, I guess, a little bit, because I liked the horns on David Yarborough's a little bit better, but like just his, I
David
don't know,
who?
the rest, Huh?
David Harbour.
Harbor. Yeah, not Harbor. Sorry.
Hey, it's not only me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I probably have to like it. But I felt like he needed to do like he I felt like he looked kind of awkward with the way he was just holding the sword.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. It just looked awkward just standing there. Like, yeah, got my sword. So
I didn't like the Excalibur sword. It looks like the one from the
Yeah.
comic, but I'm like, this is Excalibur. Make it look cool and fantastical.
I was too enthralled with the like 80s like heavy metal album cover that we got with him riding the dragon.
Yes. Yes. That's so funny that you say that. My note says the vision that Hellboy has of him in the future is the most death metal looking album cover I've ever fucking seen.
Yes. I mean, it's this demon looking guy with these just long horns, this fiery crown, holding a flaming sword with one hand and chains, holding a dragon while riding it in the sky with the other. Like, if that doesn't scream death metal cover, I don't know what does, honestly. Like that would be a Seek and Destroy cover. Like if there was a single from Metallica Seek and Destroy, like that's it.
You're like Guar or somebody like.
Oh, that's funny.
So, Michael mentioned it on like first appearances. What did y'all think of the Lobster Johnson? Did any of y'all get that? Did y'all care? Did y'all like it? Hate it? Were y'all like, who the fuck is this?
Well, obviously that was me. I was like, I don't know who. Sure. Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I mean, you got an introduction of Lobster Johnson as well in the first Ron Pearlman movie too.
Did we?
So
where was he?
yeah, it was the same kind of thing where he was like right there. He was there to shoot off the Nazis and stuff like that.
I don't remember that. I'll have to rewatch that.
I'm pretty positive. Because I was taking notes on that too. I was like, yo, their origin of Hellboy is pretty close to Hellboy 1 as well, which understandably so. Like it's the same story.
Yeah.
But it was just like the actors they had to portray Rasputin. Like I was like, that looks like the same guy almost. That's kind of weird. So stuff like that.
Yeah, whenever he came in, I was looking at it, I was like, is that Peacemaker? Like I don't who?
Lobster Johnson's awesome. I wish like everybody sits there and talks about like, oh, we need another Indiana Jones. No, just do a Lobster Johnson movie is what you need to do. That man fights Nazis all the time. Like
I was going to say they have like spin-off comics of Lobster Johnson.
Yeah.
We should probably read that or something if you want to.
I've never read any, but I would love to. I would freaking love to read some Lobster Johnson. I just love that that's his like, you got Spider-Man and Batman. This guy's a lobster.
Yeah. For you shall fear my claw. He just like burns it into their head.
It reminds me of SpongeBob too.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I forget what his name was, but that other superhero that's fat and retired or whatever.
Oh yeah,
SpongeBob.
I forget what it is too.
Yeah.
it's like a merman or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it Merman? I don't know.
It may be. But I wish they would bring him in more. Like apparently he's a ghost because of the end credit scene in this movie that we just watched. But I would love for them to bring like Lobster Johnson in and have him doing like working with Hellboy or do like an old school or something like that with Hellboy as a teenager. That'd be fun.
I think the reason why they made him a ghost is again, there's like a story where Hellboy works with Lobster Johnson as a ghost to like uncover this mystery.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I would love that. Absolutely positively love
I
that.
just need Scooby-Doo to come in there.
Hellboy's like a fanboy of Lobster Johnson. He's like super into him as a kid and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, because one of the things I read was that he had like comic books of Lobster Johnson growing up. And so like that's what he would read.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why he was a fanboy of him.
Yeah, I want to say they're reading that in the second Hellboy, The Golden Army, when you see that
I think so.
flashback of like teenage Hellboy or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, on Christmas. And then He was wanting some kind of a story, and he told him the story of the Golden Army.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would love to see more Lobster Johnson. I like the characters he got. I liked Alice. I thought her powers were pretty cool. I like Were Jaguar guy. I thought he was pretty cool. One I haven't seen before. We got a look at Abe Sapien there at the very end in a test tube. I was pretty like Abe Sapien's awesome. I love him.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So
We got to look at his hand, really, is all. I wanted.
right.
Rewatching this, man, I was like, I really wish this had done well. I would have liked to have seen a sequel to this personally, but I'll just get into that real quick. So I talked a little bit about the budgets. I'll just reiterate all this. So 2019 Hellboy is the one that we're currently talking about. Had a budget of $50 million. Domestically, it made 21 million. Internationally, or excuse me, I'll round that up, 22 million. Internationally, it made 33 million. Worldwide, it made 55 million. So if you don't include marketing, which I showed you guys at the beginning of this off podcast, that they made 25 different posters. So they probably spent a shitload on marketing. They made back
where all that
five.
CGI went.
Yeah. They made back $5 million. And more than likely they lost, because usually they say you take the budget and you double it and then add that on top of the budget. And that's usually how much a studio has spent for marketing and just the total cost. So they probably lost somewhere around like $50 million on this movie.
Ugh,
That's terrible.
God bless.
Yeah. The 2004 Hellboy, the budget was 66 million. Domestically, it made 59 million. Actually, I'll round that up and say it's 60. Internationally, it made 40. So it made 100 million, therefore making back roughly like 33 million. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, it had a budget of 85, so it had the biggest budget so far. Domestically, it made 75 million. Internationally, it made 92 million. Worldwide, it made 168. It made back $83 million. I have watched a couple of other people talking about it. Again, I could not find what they spent on marketing, but from what they talked about 2004's Hellboy, it did not make back its money. It lost money, and Hellboy 2 broke even. So it seems like people just don't like Hellboy. I don't know why, but they just don't like Hellboy.
Yeah.
The last one is obviously the most recent one, 2024's Hellboy the Crooked Man. I don't know how much the budget is because none of that has been released. It's only been released internationally in 3 markets: Portugal, I forgot how to say it. Turkey has changed its name, so it's like Turkey or something like that. Vietnam.
When did that happen? Where have I been?
It happened a while
Pluto's
back.
not a planet anymore. What?
It happened a
What do
while
you mean
back.
they changed their name?
Yeah.
You can't just change your name.
They no longer identify as Turkey.
No, exactly. Yeah. They are what is it, Prince? The nation formerly known as Turkey.
They're just a symbol.
Yes.
Please say it's of a turkey.
No, it is not. But yeah, Portugal, Turkey, I guess is how you say it. Turkey. That's it. Turkey. I remember now. And Vietnam.
No, it is dirt. It's not Dirte, it's dirt.
And Vietnam. So those 3 markets, they made currently $164,000 and $559.
Shit.
Yeah. Not looking good.
Yeah.
Not boding well for Hellboy 2, the Crooked, not Hellboy 2, Hellboy, the Crooked Man.
Well, let's be honest though. Like Turkey and Portugal, and what was the other one?
Vietnam.
Like that's not like showing it in China.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, but also I don't know if it'll do well in China anyway, because they don't usually like witchcraft and wizardry and stuff like that.
Yeah, I forgot about that. They don't do the whole demon stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
That's true. It might not even get showed over there.
Yeah.
With a name like Hellboy.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if that's part of the reason why it doesn't do well is because did those even get China releases? Chinese releases?
I could go to, you know what? I should have done that, but internationally on every single one, it did better in its international market, except for the first Hellboy,
Yeah.
like 2000, the Ron Pearlman one.
Yeah. I just wonder if those numbers include like Chinese releases.
Yeah,
I'd be curious to know that.
I can go on
So
Box Office Mojo, but it'd be like 30 minutes of me looking this up, and then I have to edit it
no,
out.
yeah, yeah. I'll just have to do that. I'll just have to go check it out. But like, I'm curious now. I'm curious because like that does make like that makes or breaks a good bit of movies. Like, of course, us.
Oh, absolutely,
Like the Western influence has, it's money that it sends. But they also look at that China release like that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
So that would be a big impact if
I think it's just people don't like Hellboy, and I feel
I
bad.
can see that.
I feel bad because I'm like a contributor of it, at least as far as comics go, because like everything about Hellboy, I should fucking love. Like I should be a huge Hellboy fan because I love like horror and the occult and all sorts of stuff. But I've never read a Hellboy comic, so like,
oh, you're missing out.
Yeah, I know. And I want to. Honestly, looking up today, I was like, you know what? God damn it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to read Hellboy finally.
And so, like, the great thing about Hellboy is most of them are like anthology style stories.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have read something else to understand what the hell's going on in this other story over here.
Yeah.
You can pick it up and go. And then a lot of those, especially in the middle, do what?
Let's just say that helps me out.
It does. It does, honestly. And so then on top of that, a lot of those stories are like 2 issues long, 3 issues long. Like they're not long stories at all. So that makes it even better.
Yeah.
To me, anyways. I feel like the biggest factor that probably hurts Hellboy, I would have to say it's probably the art style, honestly. And I know that's like, I'm not trying to diss Mignola because I actually really like him.
Yeah, I like the art style, to be honest with you.
But it's different. I could see it being an acquired taste. Like it's a different type of art style. So,
well, but I wonder why. Like, I don't know. I'm hoping that this new one that is actually going to be released over here, and that they're going to actually start marketing it, because I feel like, especially with this time of year and everything, like, and if it's going to end up like kind of the way it's been feeling as far as being a horror and that type of thing.
Yeah,
you'll be able to pull in a lot more people.
Yeah, now's the time to do it. Like if you wait, like coming this Christmas, it's not going to be. Yeah, no one's going to want to see it.
The last rumor that I saw was they were shipping around streaming services.
Yeah.
So this may not even make U.S. theaters.
Yeah, I don't think, being how well, I think they tested, why they tested in those 3 countries, I have no earthly idea. Like, put it in Australia, put it somewhere in Europe. But I think they were testing to see how well it would do. And judging by how it's not doing well, they're probably going to see if they can put it on streaming. I guarantee you that rumor is true. And yeah, it'll be on like Max or something.
It better go somewhere I like. No Netflix. Netflix, you sons of bitches, you better not get it. So we reported here long ago when we were talking about the trailer of a September 27th release that wound up being the UK release. So that's been clarified and cleared up now, which is disappointing, honestly. Like I was really looking forward to like heading out to the movies to go see this like in the theaters around like Halloween. I think that would be really fun and, interesting to do. But yeah, I hope they get it to a streaming service. Like, I would love Prime, Max. That would be cool. Either one of those, I'd be down for.
Yeah.
So, cool. I have no other notes. Y'all got anything else y'all want to add?
I have 2 things. One was just the end credit stinger. We talked about Lobster Johnson, but we also, the end credit stinger has Baba Yaga talking to a person that is not seen. And again, I don't know shit about Hellboy, so I had to look this up today because I thought it was going to be Rasputin, because Rasputin, his whole thing is like he's been killed like 1,000 billion times and he comes back. But apparently it is Koschei the Deathless, which is from a story that basically this is a little excerpt from like the wiki that I pulled. Koshi got chopped up into like a million billion pieces and died. To ensure that this would never happen again, the dragon took Kiyoshi's soul from his body and hid it away inside an egg, inside a duck, inside a rabbit, inside a goat, inside a tree, on an island just beyond the edge of the world. Baba Yaga is said to have hidden the goat and holds it hostage so that Koshi will do her bidding in hopes that Baba Yaga will one day release his soul and allow him to die, as Koshi has become tired of immortality. So it seems like that's what they were going to set it up for the sequel, is like this dude who is immortal is like hunting down Hellboy and trying to get his eyes for Baba Yaga.
I thought you were going to say it was a turducken there for a second.
It's kind of like a turducken, actually. I hid it in a turducken. I've always wanted to try a turducken. They look like a lot of work, though.
I'd be curious to know what story that would be after. What story they would be going for that. Because the way you were talking was like, this was like 2 or 3 stories, actually 3 or 4 stories.
Yeah.
That this one was based off of.
The last funny thing that I just wanted to have a funny mention, because I've mentioned it in the past, it's a little awkward to talk about, but Alice Monaghan in the comics is Ginger. And
right?
It is yet another person that has been replaced with a person of color. And it's just kind of funny to me.
No, it is funny. It's hilarious.
Because I didn't know that. Again, I've never read Hellboy, but I was looking up today and I just died laughing. I'm like, she's Ginger.
It didn't dawn on me until you said it, but I remember looking up the picture and I was like, oh, okay. And I was thrown off a little bit because, the actress that played her, which I thought did a great job. But yeah, it didn't hit me till you said it. And I'm just like, oh, of course. Yes. That's funny. That's hilarious.
But that is it for me, man.
Cool. Jeremy, you got anything else?
No, sir, I'm good.
All right, so we can't leave without asking this. Ron Pearlman or David Harbour? And then, which do you think did a better job as far as a story?
I'll say Ron Pearlman as my top. I enjoyed it more. Even the story. I mean, I don't know. Like we've said in this already, is like the story could have it could have been good. I think it just not being delivered well is why I just didn't really latch on to the story much. So yeah, mine's Ron Pearlman.
All right, but do you like the story in this one better than the Pearlman story? Or do you like the Pearlman story better?
I probably would say I like this story better, and now because the Ron Pearlman was too focused on Flame Girl. What her name?
Liz.
What's her name? Yeah, Liz. And that whole love triangle, love relationship, whatever you want to call it there, happens. But so
got you. I think you were saying earlier that Richard, you chose the first Hellboy. You like that story better.
Yeah.
Overall.
I like that.
Which one's your favorite Hellboy?
I like that movie better. Again, because it has more of the like occult kind of stuff. Because I love that is something that Mike Mignola does, is there's like Cthulhu looking monsters and things like that. I think that's really cool. Obviously, I love Guillermo del Toro's like puppetry. I really hate the story of Hellboy 2. Like there's certain great moments, but for the most part, I hate it. So that's why I put this movie firmly in second place. I like Ron Perlman's Hellboy better. I like the movie a lot better than this one, but I don't think this is a bad movie. So many people hate this, hate this movie. And I don't think it warrants the hate, in my opinion. That's what I'm trying to that's why I'm saying, it's quite good. I don't think it's super awful. I think Golden Army is way worse. But yeah, I like David Harbour better as an actor, but I prefer Ron Perlman as Hellboy. What I want to happen is I want Hellboy to get the Invincible treatment. Fuck trying to do live action stuff. Let's put this on Prime, Max, whoever. Let Mike Mignola come in and team up with the artistry, make them imitate his art style. Let's animate this thing, get Ron Perlman back to voice Hellboy, and let's just make multiple seasons of Hellboy. I think that would be way fucking cooler than anything else that they would do.
There are 2 animated Hellboy movies out there. They are. I haven't watched either one of them, but
I've watched one, and I can't remember which one it is, but it was way back in the day.
yeah. And there's not been any word on that Hellboy video game either.
Oh, I thought it came out. The world of
Did it come out and I missed it?
the Worm of Weird or whatever it's called. The Weird of Worm.
Oh, I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
I'll have to look this up. Jeremy. So Richard's pretty much saying he would recommend this, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Jeremy, would you recommend this Hellboy movie to anybody?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because it's like I said, it's still a decent story. Just, but also at the same time, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everybody. I don't know. There's just some that I'd be like, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll see it. But
We have to
my wife
ask.
doesn't.
Sorry,
Huh.
we have to ask. It's rated R. Did you show this to your kids?
No,
Okay,
did not.
just wanted to make sure.
And I didn't show that because it's the first one. Ron Pearlman's PG-13.
Yeah, I
isn't
think
it?
it's
Or-
PG-13.
I think so.
Yeah. I didn't even do that one with him because, yeah, that stuff probably would have freaked him out. So
Yeah.
But- yeah, my wife doesn't care for Hellboy. She's just I don't know, she's not crazy about it. So
Yeah. The Tooth Fairy scene in the second one. I like that. That was a fun scene.
oh yeah,
I like that. That's one thing I missed. I wish we would have gotten to see more of his weapons. We didn't really get his weapons a whole lot in this movie. That was kind of unfortunate. Mine is Pearlman over Harbor, mainly because of aesthetics and because of the voice. And then I would say this story is probably my favorite out of the other ones, though. So I would recommend it with the asterisks of just beware, CGI is not always great, and Harbor looks fugly. So just this ain't your Ron Pearlman's Hellboy here. So just be aware of that.
Just put a bag over his head and he'll be fine.
That's great. All right, Jeremy,
so
where can they find you at? Oh,
I
you got
just did
something else. Never mind.
Yeah, I did a quick search of like the Hellboy game, and apparently has been released. And like the first, like, Google gives you like suggested questions or whatever. And the first one is the new Hellboy game any good? And it goes, this is from Metacritic.com. I've never
Metacritic, yeah.
but it says, it's a dull, plodding slog that does a grave disservice to its source material, and you'd be wise to search out that source material instead of wasting $1 or a moment on this game.
So no.
Hellboy's game is being slapped around by mainstream comics games as badly as Hellboy slapping mainstream comics. I don't know why that's like repetitive, but yeah, just don't go by it.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Apparently
That's
that
so
is
sad.
that is a firm no from Metacritic.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll try anyways. Jeremy, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitch under the handle Night Fury GTO. That's Night with a K. And you can find me here. And I downloaded the game. I haven't played it.
Holy shit. I'll give you one shame. Shame. I was gonna say, since we're talking about video games.
Yeah. Because like it was, the thing that sucked is like it was on the whole I have the Xbox Game Pass thing,
Yeah.
whatever. So it was on that before then it went away. I was like, oh crap. So, but it was on sale for like $10. So I went ahead and just bought it and downloaded it. So it's downloaded, ready to play.
Yep. 6 months from now, we'll finally get him to play it.
Yeah.
Physical media all the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it then.
Speaking of your physical media, have you been playing it?
I played an hour or so today and completed chapter 6 and started chapter 7.
Shit.
Uh-oh.
This is actually working. I cannot believe I've like strong-armed y'all into playing this.
So yes, I've played it.
Give a
Hey! Richard, where can they find you at?
if you want to contact me directly, I have an X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram, and a Threads. My handle is Night Curry, night like day and night, and Curry with a K. If you want to contact us directly, we have a Gmail. Our Gmail is comicallycomicspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to check us out on YouTube, possibly TikTok, we'll see, and Instagram, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics Podcast. And if you want to check us out on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, you can check us out under the name Comically Comics with an X.
Ta-da! You can find me on Instagram, eBay, and Shortbox at 22_comics. You can also find me on YouTube at 22 comics. Thank y'all so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed as much as we did making it. With all that being said, say goodbye, Jeremy.
Bye, Jeremy.
Goodbye, Jeremy. Goodbye.
Yeah, fuck you back.